Okay, hello everyone. George Webb. You can tell by the way we do our videos that they're going to come true pretty soon. 5 days ago, we said the people in this building would be doing a false flag. We said that Charlie was going to be coming. Turning Point USA is going to be coming to this building. We said armed queers was the CAE team that had been hired to disrupt Turning Point. We looked at this building in this corner, and this is exactly what just got bombed right where I'm standing 5 days after we were there. We were there on Friday. Here it's Tuesday, and of course they're bombed. Who teaches bomb making skills? We went and talked about the Air Force ROTC. We put out the newspaper about their events, their evade and escape event that they just put out 2 days after Charlie. We looked at their Air Force background, Air Force connections, and now they're being bombed. Yeah, Charlie's dead, so obviously Turning Point now is the target here being bombed, and we wrote all about it. Almost exactly where I'm standing when I made this 5 days ago is where the bomb just was exploded. It was a suspicious package. We don't know what it was. We don't know if it was in an office, or we don't have any idea. But we do know that there was fire in the hole, and the bomb squad blew it up, which of course disrupts the Turning Point USA. And so people can't film the massive crowds that have come out for Charlie Kirk. We said it was armed queers. I think that I got to Salt Lake City one day after September 11th. And we said it was armed queers. We connected armed queers with Tyler Robinson. So we had all sorts of people attack me that used to be with the FBI in Salt Lake City, saying that it wasn't armed queers in Salt Lake City. Now the internet's aflame with Maya, seeing all these connections and doing all this bomb making training that they did and all the sniper training they did. So Kyle Seraphin, who used to work for the FBI, I believe, in Salt Lake City, attacked me for connecting Maya and connecting on the day after 9/11. Right, I'm there in Salt Lake City. The day after 9/11, we're talking about the connection between armed queers that put out a fatwa or whatever kind of, I felt very much in danger at the time. But my point here is look at how the people who are supposed to be the heroes, supposed to be the people who were whistleblowers, and they're going to come out and warn you, and they're going to come out and say what organizations are being created to false flag you and so forth. Look at how they're never in the know. Look at how they're always the last to know. Look at how the people who are actually delivering the truth to the American people not only deliver it within a few minutes of the event occurring, it's been an hour or so since the event occurred, but we're there 5 days before saying, and this is the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence. This is the building that, we said does false flags. And we predicted a false flag for the Turning Point USA events in Utah. And of course, this happens 5 days later. So if you don't believe it, go back to the Substack. You can read it. But the Substack very clearly delineates all this. Going back to the beginning of the Substack, you can go back to the one I did on the 12th, but you can look at Tyler Robinson's connections to creating these kill teams, to creating these disruption teams, to creating these armed queer folks. We said from this is day one, we said it's a team. Tyler Robinson probably never stepped foot on UVU. He's training these teams to disrupt the Turning Point USA type message, the conservative speakers. We said a lone gunman or team day one. Day two, there I am in Salt Lake City. Here we go. Armed queers. Here we go. Tyler Robinson, armed queers. Day after 9/11. And Kyle Seraphin, ex-FBI guy in Salt Lake City, attacks me right then. Why? Because he doesn't want anybody outing the fact that his creation and the FBI Salt Lake City's creation of Syed, okay, is about ready to go on a campaign of bombing right? These various turning point events. This is 2 days after Charlie Kirk's murder. Here we go. Okay, hello everybody, George Webb, Tyler Robinson, all the different universities. We've just completed a tour of all the different ROTC. You may have seen the ROTC pictures. It's not trans. The actual people talking in the trans group are not trans. They're actually ROTC members. That's their cover. Trans is their cover. So this one, University of Utah, is an Air Force. Utah State up in Logan was an Air Force. You can see the Capitol behind me over here, right? And then the Mormon Conference Center behind me. So both of those are Air Force, Utah and Utah State, as well as the other university in Provo, UVU, where the shooting was. And it looks like, from the data we've gathered, you've seen the pictures of him with the Iraq or the Mujahideen scarf, and him looking much more stronger, kind of like Crooks. You know, he's filled out now in these later ROTC pictures, and they're really trying to push the trans thing now, but it's not really flying. Everybody's seeing him for the events, the ROTC events that he was attending. So that's the key, is to get the story straight, get through the FBI false narratives. Got a lot of ex-FBI out there trying to push, it's trans, you know, it's trans is the big new thing. We got to, look at all these people who want to turn trans. It has nothing to do with that. It's the ROTC. Now, all these up here are Air Force, right? Utah State, UVU, they're all Air Force. And the one down where we were on the 10th, kind of closing in, where was the FBI that day? They were back over in Provo, weren't they? We were in St. George, they were in Provo, right? Anyway, just a little reminder. But he went back to the Army. It looks like he didn't like the Air Force program for some reason. He went back to the Army program in St. George. And that's where you blow shit up. And I hate to say it, but he wants to blow shit up. So there we talk about the actual training in wiring at Dixie Tech for blowing shit up. And of course, what happens today is shit gets blown up, right? Amazing how life is. Are all these people being hired just to imitate and do the things we say on this channel? It's almost like they are. It's almost like everyone's employed to make all of our predictions come true. I know it's true, but there it is. False flags never stop. And we talked about the DNC false flag when I was in Washington for 5 years. We said pretty soon they're gonna, to get rid of the spy ring records, they're going to call a false flag and they're going to bomb themselves at the DNC. And that's when they're going to get all the files out. I think Tyler Robinson's file just got blown up right where I'm holding it. And I'm holding up the ROTC story about them doing these training exercises there. So it's pretty interesting. Kash Patel, now's the time to come back to Utah. Kash Patel, now's the time to come back to Utah. They just bombed Turning Point USA, where we were 5 days ago. If there ever was a time, Kash Patel, to bring 250 agents and go to all the ROTCs and go to all the files for the recruiting of these quote unquote trans groups that are really just bombers and snipers, right? That's just to quell people on the campuses, quell people on the college campuses who oppose the Ukraine war. This goes all the way back. We've been covering this ever since Curtis LeMay hired Reeve Whitson, right? This is a counterintelligence program to put down dissent. And as soon as somebody gets up there and starts talking about the Ukraine war, all of a sudden we have a bombing. As soon as somebody gets up there and starts talking about not funding the Ukraine war, we have a shooting and somebody gets murdered. So we've seen this for so many years, and it just keeps happening over and over, and no one is doing anything about it. Agree on Seraphin. Yeah, Seraphin sits on his ass and criticizes, right? The night I was in Salt Lake City calling out armed queers, he's saying, you don't know anything. I was an FBI agent there. You don't know anything. We're not training anybody to build bombs. You're not training anybody to do shootings. Oh, really? Really, Kyle? You dumb shit. Get with a program. Next time you're in St. George, you can chill with me. Yeah, I agree with that. It was very dangerous in Salt Lake City, very dangerous, and a very heavy. You could tell that the FBI had really put a ton of effort into the trans thing in Salt Lake City, because the Capitol, they want to control the Capitals. That's why I go to the Capitals Yeah, you can't. Um, yeah, it's in, great comments coming in here. Yes, bombed today, right where I'm standing. About 5 days later, they just bombed it. Turning Point USA trying to do a show. We predicted it. You can't do any better than this. 5 days before, saying, "Okay, look out." The people in this same building, the Champ building where we were, almost in the same exact spot, I said they will bomb themselves. The Center for Anticipatory Intelligence, they will bomb themselves. They'll make themselves out to be the victim. We said it 5 days ago. It happened today because we said, "Hey, they're going to stop. They're going to stop Turning Point USA because Turning Point has turned against the Ukraine war, and they're going to stop that free speech." I wonder if the FBI is at least watching. I hope so. Cash, tune in. How many can we? We're in. We're in. We have all kinds of people waiting for Tyler to come off the second plane, right? In St. George that day on the 10th, right? I mean, come on, Cash, get down here. Now's the time to bring 250 agents. I can't go into a business, and here's where I really could use Cash. I can't go into a business. I can say, "Do you have any security video of the Dairy over toward the Dairy Queen on such and such a day?" And they go, "You know what? Who are you? Yeah, we're trying to sell hot dogs here or whatever." Right? Get out. Right? Cash can go in with a badge, and an agent can go in with a badge and say, "Give me your tapes. Give me your tapes. We want to follow this guy." Um, yeah, misdirected me for saying, um, yeah, Meta signed something that John Cullen was saying about the water tower and the zip line. I never said anything about a damn zip line. I said Crooks was a volunteer sniper for Beaver County, which turned out to be true. I said he was a DHS trained sniper. We went out to Claret and broke that story. He was a volunteer sniper, and he was told that Corey Comparatori was an Iranian assassin. That's why he took out Corey Comparatori, right? Greg Nickel is the person who went out shooting. There was a Canadian-American shooting event after the killing, if you can believe it or not, that Nickel was a part of. So they're the ones that were assigned to cover the roof, and they're the ones who took out Greg Nickel, and the other two guys are the ones that took out Crooks on the roof. Period. So the Ryan Meta doesn't want that to be assigned to me, the truth. He wants to make up something about assigning something me like John Cullen, which was completely not true. He seems to have a bone picking me. Well, the bone he has to pick is he is always sitting on his ass, and he's going to lose his followers if he keeps sitting on his ass. Right? If you keep sitting on your ass so long while other people run circles around you, you're going to lose your followers. Right? We're there at here's the picture, right? We're there at Utah State saying they're going to bomb TPUSA and saying that they're doing bombing training at Dixie Tech. We're there saying that 5 days ago. It just happened today, about an hour ago. Okay. Wouldn't you? I mean, if you're Ryan Mata and you're sitting on your ass and then this happens again, you're Kyle Seraphin and you're sitting on your ass saying when Salt Lake City was your beat, right? And then the armed queer shit happens with you look like you're fat ass. You look like you're Freddie fat ass. And they are Freddie fat ass. And they're losing. So they have to make shit up, right? You can go back and look at all my Butler stuff saying you can stop these rooftop assassinations with a guy, with a cop on the roof, with a Walmart cop, with Paul Blart, a mall cop, a wedding photographer can stop this. A kid, a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout with a dog, a kid with a drone. There's like 8 different ways to stop rooftop assassinations. Crooks, you see me go out to Clariton with Tyrone, right? My citizen journalist in Pittsburgh. You see me. We went to the Corey Comparatori night where he sang, where Tyrone sang that night. We did a benefit for Corey Comparatori. You saw me go to Beaver County with Tyrone and find out that Crooks was a volunteer for Beaver County. I went into Butler County Township. All this is documented. He just made shit up. He took John Cullen's story about the zip line and the water tower and assigned it to us, right? I never said anything about a zip line. So I remember I may be the OG, I may be the old guy, but I get the shit right. Well, it's the most important story in America. Somebody said, so what? It's the most important story in America, and it's the most important story and assassination of our time. I told a young Carol yesterday, he's only 32. I said, this is your Kennedy assassination. You'll remember this the rest of your life. It's only the most important story of your time. If you're under, if for us, for my generation, I am an old guy, right? Kennedy assassination, 63, and then seeing the Zapruder film in 77. But if you weren't like 5 or 6 years old when the Zapruder film came out and you couldn't see that and your parents wouldn't let you see it, this is the most important assassination of your life, right? This is the most important story of your life, right? This is the most visceral murder that you're ever going to see probably in your life. You're going to remember this the rest of your life. So what does it matter? It's the most important story that we possibly could be reporting on. Now, I admit, every man, woman, and child were affected by the military live exercise. We broke that story too, right? We dropped the Podesta group like a bag of dirt with a lawsuit. We put the Clinton Foundation in mothballs with a lawsuit against the DNC. We sent the Iranian spy ring, the Awan spy group, packing back to Pakistan, right? So a lot of these big wins, we called out Joe Biggs with the orange hats pulling the gates an hour, 20 minutes before Trump was done speaking, exonerating Trump at January 6th. So we're delivering again and again. There must be something where we're doing right. And there must be something about sitting on your fat ass like Kyle Seraphin, and there must be something sitting on your fat ass like Ryan Matta that's not working, right? Do you ever think about it, Ryan, rather than criticizing the people actually out there doing the work, you ever think, hey, maybe I should get off my fat ass and actually do something myself, right? So, that's the learning here. That's the object lesson that you can pick up, right? If you watch the news, right? Watch how it's done. So yeah, beware of the slip and slide. Andy McCabe, yeah, the great Chris, the IP hunter, and you associate yourselves with people like this. You associate yourselves with a 3-time Iraq veteran who was a military police officer and knows how to sniff out bombs and work with bomb sniffing dogs, and has worked with how to sniff out weapons, and also is an incredible sleuth as far as IP addresses. We call him Chris the IP hunter, right? You associate yourself with the best of the best, right? When you associate yourself with the best of the best, you come up with fantastic intelligence. It's not me. It's the people I associate with. I'm the conduit. That's how we predict this shit, right? I'm the conduit of really great people. I've often said I'm the dyslexic because I have bad eyes and I'm dyslexic too, and a Cherokee to boot. So I'm not maybe the best person to deliver the message, but if you have fantastic contributors, you don't have to be that good, right? You could just be the reporter, the stenographer. I'm the kind of dyslexic stenographer. You could be the dyslexic stenographer. If you're reporting Chris, the IP hunter type information, you're going to look smart. You're going to look really smart. So Kyle Seraphin is Canadian British intelligence. Yeah, I wonder about him. Like Kyle, I'm in your old beat. I'm in Salt Lake City. I'm outing. I went to the Capitol also to out armed queers. They're going to start blowing shit up. Now they're just getting started here, right? That's our message with Ermaya and the Mujahideen Charlie. We call him Machine Gun Mujahideen Charlie. They're not done here. Between now and the election, they're going to blow shit up every time Turning Point comes out and shows up at a college campus. Boom, 5 days later, they blow up Utah State. So, Kyle, you're the one who looks like an idiot, right? I'm in Salt Lake City saying, watch out for armed queers a day after 9/11, and you're sitting on your fat ass. Same thing with Ryan Matta, right? I'm up here in Logan 5 days before the bombing saying, hey, when Turning Point comes up here, you're going to get bombed. Boom, the bomb happens. So here, just for receipts here, I'll just go here really quickly to the receipts. Here we go. This is what I did 5 days ago up there. Let's let me up in Logan. Okay, here we go. Okay, hello everyone. George Webb here at Utah State University, home of the Aggies here in Logan, Utah. And this is the building for the Center of Anticipatory Intelligence. The Center of Anticipatory Intelligence. What do those letters spell out to? CAI. Well, that's convenient because the person who runs this, Jennifer Johnson, is CIA. And the top 3 people are CIA that run this building. It's a beautiful old building here on Old Main Hill. And as you can see, it's nestled in this valley here in beautiful Logan, Utah. And you can see the mountains behind us, right? And so the Bear, I think there's Bear Mountains, Bear River, and so forth. And there's the beautiful building. But the key to this is where, of course, Tyler Robinson starts his program and then disappears. He's one of the top students in America in engineering, in STEM, and then he disappears off the map. Now, what we put forward is he's a part of a team. He's didn't flunk out at all. As a matter of fact, he's one of the technical members of a team, right? And these things are very good. These teams are very good at anticipating false flags, anticipating things like the Charlie Kirk murder, because they're the ones that do them. So you become very good at anticipating things when you're the one who does them. If you have the weapons team, if you have the sniper team, if you have the explosives team, you become very good at predicting when things are going to happen because you're the ones doing them. And this is the key to the missing years. We have the missing years with Tyler, right? We have the missing years with Tyler Robinson. This is going to be the key to the missing years. He's working with his team members in this Intermountain intelligence organization, right? He's working with his team members at different campuses, Salt Lake City campus, University of Utah, this is Utah State, of course, and Utah Tech down into St. George, where we were on the 10th, the day of the shooting. So our citizen journalists crowding in there waiting for Tyler to land his plane and maybe to spend a night on the Indian reservation or something. But this is the key to our metadata. We're tracking the metadata of the team, right? We're not arguing about the amphitheater anymore. We're not arguing about this shot, the microphone, and all these other things, because all those things lead us to the same conclusion, right? That there is a team involved. So if you're looking for a team, the best thing to do is collect the metadata of the team, go for the team's metadata, and then you'll have the team, right? So that's the Substack that I wrote today. It's all about the team. It's all about Tyler's team. And if you follow Tyler's team, it's Armqueers. It's not hard to follow. They announce everything they do publicly. They're on the state capitol steps. The governor supports this. Trevor Cox supports this, with the trans agenda sort of being the cover for this intelligence. They're in the same building, right, as all the muckety mucks here at the university. This is, you can hear the bells behind me. This is the Center for Anticipatory Intelligence.
What do they need an engraved invitation that Turning Point is going to get hit here in 5 days? I mean, I'm explaining everything. I mean, it just a blueprint, and they want the blueprint and the device that Tyler taught them how to build. I mean, what do they expect from citizen journalists? I mean, how could we spell it out anymore for them? I'm not saying it got bombed literally. I'm saying it got bombed literally. Just do a little search on bomb and Utah State about an hour ago, where there was going to be a Turning Point USA event. We went there 5 days before the event. We said they were going to go to all the universities. We said Armqueers was going to do the bombing or shooting at all the events. I don't know what part of this we didn't spell out. You just saw me spelling it out 5 days in advance, and still it happens. Unbelievable. So, it is what it is, and it just shows you, if you sit on your ass long enough, Kyle Seraphin, you'll never get anything right. And Ryan Maida, it just shows you, if you sit on your ass and you get your ass to be fat enough so it can't even get through a door, you'll never get anything right either. So, keep attacking me for being the guy out here burning shoe leather, trying to save lives at Turning Point USA, and trying to figure out who killed Tyler, who tried to kill Charlie Kirk, right? While you guys sit on your fat ass. And you guys are supposed to be the smarties, right? We're the ones who have the group of citizen journalists that keep delivering time after time. you guys come up with, I don't know, child traffickers that are chained together on Mars, in some tunnels on Mars. Come on, man. You got to get with the program, you guys. So, George, you nailed it. Yes, we did. And it's our citizen journalists that nailed it. Again, I'm just a dyslexic, and I don't know how people put up with me, but I'm a dyslexic stenographer. But I'm the stenographer for the smartest people in the world, right? And that's a beautiful job. Okay, while they distract us with chaos, the mechanism strengthens. Ordo de Chow. Okay, I don't know that order. Never did, never will. Support Ukraine. Zelensky. Yeah, they're trying to smash all dissent of the Ukraine war. The next step is General Dynamics. The next step here, they're already doing this in Europe. Okay, we're pulling the recruiting posters from Germany. They're protesting in France. They're pulling the recruiting posters. They're trying to get mercenaries. They're trying to do the General Dynamics mercenary program. All right, and they're trying to, anybody who gets in the way of that on the college campuses, they're going to bomb them or shoot them. Right, that's what Armed Queers is. And then they're supposed to say, "Oh, I didn't shoot them because of the Ukraine war. I shot them because they didn't like trans." Right, that's the cover. Yes, I agree. They've destroyed Salt Lake City. I wasn't sure. Well, didn't I say explosives? Didn't I say Tyler wasn't learning how to wire doorbells at Dixie Tech? How many times have I said Tyler wasn't learning how to wire doorbells at Dixie Tech? You weren't sure that you could say the word bomb. Well, I probably should say pew pew for gun and boom boom for bomb. Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, well, we got a couple of splish and splashes here. They're to cover up. Wouldn't Cash be a participant? No, I think this is sort of like Trump in his first term. I think he's complete. I could be wrong, but I think Cash, knowing Cash from Devin Nunes' office and so forth, I see Cash as a good guy, right? I see Cash as a white hat, if you want me to put it in those terms. I see Cash as a good guy, and I think it's tough. I think it's tough when you got guys like Dan Bongino. If you want to Cash, if you really want a great second in command, go get Robin Gritz. Go get Robin Gritz. Go get the person who figured out the WTC bombing number, the first one in '93. Go get the person who cracked the code for the 9/11 bombings, okay, and cracked the fact that it was P-TAC. Go get that person and reinstate her and give her back pay, by the way. Andy McCabe is the one that got rid of her because she was the only Sharpie in that whole group that figured out what the hell was going on with Peter Strzok. What the hell is this DTRA backdoor? Why are these people coming in here into high levels and positions and they're giving everybody lie detector tests and they never went to the academy? What the hell's going on with the DTRA backdoor? That's Robin Gritz. You got to go get Robin Gritz right now. If you want to have any kind of counterintelligence right now, she did the Somali bombers, the Somali pirates. She did them. She did everything. I mean, Richard Pearl, the Pearl killings, everything. She's done it all. Now's the time. Don't wait any longer. Get Robin Gritz and get Jeff Prather as a consultant. If you want to know this group is ATF. This group knows how to blow shit up and they know how to kill people with guns, right? The ATF are the guys. The Fast and Furious guys are the ones running this in Utah. They're recruiting these little proxies out here. They're running the little Tyler Robinsons out to recruit these little proxies. So you think it's trans. No, it isn't. It's these guys running Utah Contra, right? At the end of the day. Okay. So, oh, you don't like me now. Okay. Well, okay. Whatever. I'm the guy who predicted it. Where's your Kyle Seraphin now? Where's your Kyle Seraphin? Is he here? Where's your fucking piece of shit Kyle Seraphin now? Nowhere. Right? That's not a grift. That's me getting $8 a month, putting my life on the line to save your suck ass. That's me putting my life on the line to save your suck ass, right? And I'm saving guys like Kyle Seraphin at the same time, and I'm saving the fucking fat ass like Ryan Matta too. he's a secondary beneficiary of all this great journalism as well, right? And I'm making $8 a month, risking my life out here, okay? And you're sitting on your fat ass making comments, right? Get off your ass and do something. If you don't like my reporting, burn some of your own shoe leather and do some fucking work, okay? Sorry for the F-bombs, but I sometimes upset me. It's like, hey, what do I got to do? I got to say Turning Point's going to get bombed, and I got to say exactly what hour. Do I have to say exactly what hour? Isn't saying it 5 days in advance and outlining the group that's going to do it and outlining where they're teaching them how to wire up the bombs? Isn't that enough? No, that's not enough for you. Oh, okay. So I can't promise they didn't use Palantir. Of course, they're going to use Palantir in all this. Good afternoon, Ogden. We've been in Ogden as well. We were there talking. You know, they're going to bring in somebody who's a CIA person like Jennifer Jensen, right? And they're going to, and you're going to go, oh, they got way better credentials than Cash. But when they're against you and they hate you, right? All of a sudden you're going to go, oh, I wish I had Cash back. Again, I just said Robin Grits. If you want to bring in the pros from Dover, bring in Robin Grits, okay? But until then, Cash Patel, come back here. Come back here. I told you this wasn't over. We've been saying it ever since you left. Don't leave. Bring in 250 agents. Make this Mississippi burning. The Mississippi burning. They also used bombs to blow up the churches. If you don't remember, come in here. Like I said, take over Losi Center. Put 250 agents in there and say we're not leaving until we get some sheepskins. Right? That's how you got to do it. Okay. So Utah State University heightened security and preparation to Turning Point. Well, I'm glad they listened to us. We probably saved some lives today. Probably saved some conservative lives today. Unlicensed, repeatedly, uncensored. What is that comment? What difference does it make? Right? You want to put in Hillary Clinton's proxy? You want to the auto pen with Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, you want to put her in? You want to put these people in? Trump is definitely better in terms of us being able to exercise our freedoms and at least put people in there that are trying to do the right thing, right? So I'm not a big Trump fan, a huge Trump fan, like some MAGA folks where Trump can do no wrong. I just spoke Spanish today and I saw this beautiful little Spanish girl, family, a grandmother, an abuela, and the mother and the madre and the little baby girl. And I was eating at this restaurant and they had these stuffed toys. And I said, I asked permission to the grandmother to buy her a toy, and I asked permission to the mother to buy her a toy. And it was $16, but it was a beautiful little bear. And I wanted her to have an experience where a gringo, and all in Spanish, gave her a present and said, you're welcome here. We want you to be, we're not trying to get the guys at Home Depot that are doing tile work, right? That's not the problem. It's the Carlos Slim drug dealers that are killing all of our kids on these campuses, that are bringing all these Adderall and meth and all the stuff into these campuses and killing all these kids. That's the enemy. The guys at Home Depot doing tile work are not the enemy, right? We got to build houses, right? So I don't agree with Trump on the immigration. I don't think that ICE is the way to do it. If you want to ICE the bank accounts of the employers that are hiring these people. But the best thing to do is ICE the bank accounts of the drug dealers, right? And if you don't get to the bottom of this ATF group in Utah, and you don't get to the bottom of a Utah Contra, you ain't going to stop the drug business. This ATF group from Fast and Furious is still running the drug business in the United States. Until you get to that, you're not going to get to the heart of the drug dealers in America. And if you don't believe me, believe a guy who did it and jumped out of airplanes and did it. That's Jeff Prather. He's done it, right? He's got his wall where he's trained, 8,000 different LEO on firearms. I cannot remember. Like Jeff, it looks like you only got three. It looks like you only got three names up there on the wall, right? You got all these organizations that say thanks for your small arms training, Jeff Prather. Thanks for your knife training, Jeff Prather. Thanks for your hand-to-hand combat training, Jeff Prather. Thanks for this training. All the FBI, CIA, all these organizations. And he's only got three names up there. I say, Jeff, what the hell are you only got three names on the wall for? He goes, those are the three guys that didn't make it. That's Jeff Prather. Cash is surrounded. And the best thing to do, Cash, the best thing to do is get here. Put 250 people into a stadium. Put 250 with a tent outside and show everybody you're working on this. Put them all into, the best thing you could do is take over a football stadium, one of the high schools, and just put the tents outside, and we'll say we're sleeping outside like Grant. We're going to all get Union Army tents, and we're going to just sleep outside until we get to the bottom of this. And I'll fill this damn stadium up until we get to the bottom of this with recruiting all these organizations that want to blow up Turning Point USA. That's how you do it. Forget about this ICE stuff, right? Forget about the guys at Home Depot that are trying to do tile, right? That's not the problem. It's the guys that are running the drugs that are doing the overdoses. Okay, that's where your problem is. It's right here in Utah, right, where everybody's risking their lives. That's why Kyle Seraphin ain't here. That's why Ryan Manna ain't here, because they know how freaking dangerous it is, right? I'm not saying Cash is great. Who's the boss right now, right? I'm not going to make an appeal to somebody who's not the boss, right? In sales, you learn that quite quickly. If you don't talk to the guy writing the checks, you're talking to the wrong guy. So if Cash is passive or he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, I can't change that. I got to have action now. I got to have action, and somebody sign off on this tonight, action tonight, right? That's got to happen. So what I'm saying is we have differences. We feel very strongly that I feel very strongly that we have a great Jewish community in America, right? I get attacked for that. Okay. Israel has a right to exist. We get attacked for that. I feel very strongly for all the programs we're doing in Michigan. We get attacked for those programs, the education programs we're doing in Michigan. Okay. We don't agree on everything. Trump and I don't agree on everything. In our channel, I'm sure we have people who are very strong Trump and not so strong Trump. Peter Duke doesn't like Trump at all, right? That's not the point. The point is getting to the truth for the American people and saving the Constitution, right? And I probably lose if I wave the Trump flag more, I probably get a lot more people following. But I wanted to make a point to this family that they're eating their breakfast, that you got a gringo here that loves you and wants you to be a part of our community. And we love you so much. Here's our plush toy. This isn't the kind of plush toy they had at the military live exercise in Wuhan, where a third of the athletes ended up sick when they got the plush toy. This isn't one of those kind of plush toys. Yeah. So anyway, good evening. Thank you. Oklahoma City bombing had area and army plot. Jeff, what's his name? McVeigh was special forces. They told him, hey, we just need you to drive the guy in, and get the guy to set off the truck bomb. And we've got the charges already planted on 4 key pillars in the ATF building. We're going to drop this thing. We're going to destroy the Iran-Contra investigation. And all you got to do is just get that guy to drive the truck there, just so we have, a explanation. And don't worry, we're going to get arrested, but we're going to give you a lethal injection, but it's going to just be saline. And oops, Timothy, sorry. We pushed potassium and now you're dead too. And now we don't have to have a cover story, do we? So you're gone. So you're dead. You believed our story, how we were going to, get you a condo on an island somewhere, right? So these things continue to happen over and over. The only way to get in front of them is Mississippi burning. The only way to get in front of them is bring your people here that you trust, Cash. and put them out there on that football field and put them in those U.S. Army, U.S. Grant Army tents and say, we ain't leaving until we come up with an answer. Right. And now the press is going to go show you like an encampment right outside of Shiloh. Right. And say, well, you know, rent a movie theater like they did in Mississippi Burning and just say, here's our crime board. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We ain't leaving until we do. Don't go to any more dinners. Don't go to any more things where people are trying to shine your shoes. Come here and get to the bottom of Utah-Contra. Get to the bottom of creating these terrorist groups to stop dissent on our American campuses. Okay. The FBI has been willfully ignorant. All right. Okay. White Mesa Uranium Mill in Blanding. How did you know we've been to Blanding? The Navajo Indian Reservation, they're stealing all the uranium. This is the great Super Jew that I do a show with. This is Aaron Adler. And Aaron's really smart. Aaron called all of this. He called the plane. He goes, oh, I know the plane. And N888 KG. It's going to be Chabad Lubavitch. It's going to be Habanim Dror. I said, Aaron, how do you know that? We just got the plane. We just got the number on the plane the day after on September 11th. We just got, it's good. Trust me, it's going to be Habanim Dror. It's going to be Chabad Lubavitch. This super radical Zionist, super Zionist group that's trying to take over Europe, right? They're trying to take over Eastern Europe because Catherine the Great promised a small Jewish group the Pale to settle there, not to take over and own the land and the sovereignty, right? This extremely super Zionist group that is trying to take the Ukraine money and then recapitulate the Pale between the Black Sea and the Baltic, because Catherine the Great said, you guys can, be the accountants, for these peasants in the Pale, right? Now they want the Pale. That's beyond the Pale to me. Why is Candace Owens not following me? I think she is. I won't say, I filmed Candace's Dairy Queen way more than Candace has, right? I've gone there so much they're about ready to name a blizzard after me, right? So I've filmed the parking lot and made an appeal to those people who have security cameras, right? More than Candace has. I've gone to her Dairy Queen and made it famous. And I've got it, I can't count how many times I've been there. At least I filmed it twice, but I've been there, driven by it and stopped there 4 or 5 times. I've been there more than Candace has. So I'm pushing Candace's story as a potential solution, right? They could have used the heliport, right, at Timpaganos. They could have gotten that team out of there 1 mile away from that Dairy Queen. He could have been waiting there, cooling his heels. Tyler could have been cooling his heels at the Dairy Queen, watching the TVs there at Dairy Queen, waiting for his opportunity, and then got out of there when the time was right, for the second plane, not the first plane with the insiders leaving, but the second plane maybe, right? So that's her theory. Okay, great. I'm all over her theory. Nobody wants the Candace theory to be more true than me. I burned more shoe leather in that parking lot than, hush puppies, right? I mean, there's skid marks all over that parking lot at the Candace Dairy Queen. I want that to be true, but I did the research before that and said the team isn't meeting there. The team's meeting over by BYU. They had the air cover of this guy, this Habanim Dror, this Chabad Lubavitch guy named Maxfield. He owns the plane, right? Maxfield's ex-BYU graduate. He's a huge donor. There was a lot more that you could get to that other Dairy Queen much quicker, up University Avenue on the bus. There was a bus every 10 minutes. It's a perfect place there's the cover of college students at both locations. So the perfect place to rehearse and train for an operation, for a murder, right? For an assassination. And I just talked to the person who cut my hair today. She was a student at UVU. The place I'm staying at, right by a UVU, right? I'm talking to students all the time, and they all say the same thing. You can go to UVU for a couple of years and not know all the nooks and crannies. It's a complicated cut up thing with prows and all kinds of roofs and everything. And even if the students who graduate there or teachers who've been there 10 years, they don't know the roof. They don't know the roof line. They had to be at that ROTC at least a week in advance. Tyler had to be there with the team at that ROTC building that I showed, the abandoned building, at least a week in advance, going over this, right? Watching what they do and how they get access to those roofs, right? And how they get, and building security people had to make sure that they weren't watching those roofs as well. And they had to figure out which staircases. And we showed the staircases. You saw me just interview Thomas, who also was a witness to the murder, who also took me up to the staircase, how he got up there, right? You saw me go to the staircase. We've been there for the last 2 weeks. We've been traipsing back and forth, back and forth. We're trying to solve how the team did it. Candace last night broke the story that he never stepped on campus. Tyler Robinson never stepped foot on campus. The only way he could direct his team, the only way he could stay off campus and direct this is from that ROTC building with a drone, right? The only way he could do this is from the ROTC building with a drone, right? And yes, it is just getting started. They're going to bomb the shit out of Turning Point USA or anybody else who's against the war. And they're going to shoot the shit out of anybody who's against the Ukraine war. Palantir comes from Tolkien. Yes, it's the Sorcerer's Stone, right? It's the stone that gives you the answer. Well, like I said here just 10 seconds ago in this video, it's really good. You definitely always are the sorcerer with the answer of the Sorcerer's Stone. You know the answer. If you're the one doing the bombing, if you're the one doing the shooting, you always seem to know the answer. Of course you know. Of course you have the Sorcerer's Stone. Of course you have the Palantir. Of course you do, right? And the more bombing, the more we're going to say, oh, we need Palantir to predict these things. Why don't you just hire these guys? These guys seem to be able to tell you without any hokey hokum, but we don't need any colored glass to read the future. Recall Bears Ears Park. Oh my gosh, Aaron's going back on the Romney and how Romney did a deal with Hillary Clinton. They needed actually what they call feedstock to water down all the missile uranium that was coming. Right, all this missile uranium was coming from Russia, and that was all falling off a truck with Johann Spyring, not getting to Piketon, Ohio, and they needed some feedstock to downblend because the Russian uranium was so pure, and that was the big ears. That was the big ears thing, and so anyway, it's just great having the Super Jew here. Okay, well, America is ready for the Noah Hyde law. I don't know what Noah Hyde law is. Let's see. Lots of uranium. Yes, there are lots of uranium. Trump does not control the CIA. And Johnny Radcliffe, okay, Johnny Radcliffe runs the CIA, and I have had a lot of interactions with John Radcliffe. So he's either the smoothest mofo that ever lived, or they're running a rogue operation here. I say it's a rogue operation of these folks out here, out west, that ran Fast and Furious. It's FBI, it's DEA, it's CIA, it's this rogue drug operation. It's the same operation that ran Iran-Contra. It just keeps changing states. They just keep needing a new governor to land the planes. And it just keeps moving around. And the new directors can't seem to ever figure it out. I don't know how this is so difficult. Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas, so they landed the planes in Arkansas. Trevor Cox is the governor of Utah, so they land the planes in Utah. It just seems so simple, but anyway, there you go. Choose your side. This is boiling down to MAGA against MAGA. I think it's boiling down to citizen journalism versus they're going to try to pit MAGA against MAGA. I think it's citizen journalism versus deep state, right? That's if I had to say it in 5 words or less, let's see. McVeigh's support group bombing SPAR was the Aryan Republican Army. Okay, fair enough. we talked about Wayne Manus, who created Aryan Nation, which was always a FBI make crime group, right? We took you. It's a golf course. We took all the people up there in Idaho. We took them up there, and it's a golf course. Oh, the Aryan Nation's a golf course. God, give me a 2-iron. This is a long one over this water. Give me a 2-iron. The Aryan Nation was a golf course that Wayne Manus was playing golf on. So it's incredible the kind of fakery that they're pushing with all these, out of control domestic terrorists. Domestic terrorists, they're caddies. They're caddies who know the yardage is on the 2 golf courses where the Aryan Knights are and the Aryan Nation is. Okay. Yep. Okay. FBI created these gangs and front groups. Of course, we've talked about this since McCabe in 2016. I do call on John Radcliffe to clean this up, and Johnny walking the halls with Trey Gowdy, and he would always answer my questions. I'd walk shoulder to shoulder, and he would always answer my questions. He always looked me in the eye. Man, if he turns out to be a bad guy, I'll just really feel bad of my judge of character. Freudian slip is Tyler. Yes, Freudian slips are Tyler. Yep. Can you say explosive words like that? Are you a Fed? Oh, because I outed the Fed operation to blow up a bunch of patriots today, 5 days in advance, and I stood on exactly the spot where the bombing was going to be. That makes me a Fed. Look, at $8 a month that I work for on paid Substack, that's the best $8 you ever spent if I was making tax dollars, okay? The federal government doesn't work like that. If you say $8 in Washington, they will drown you in the Potomac. If you say $8,000, they'll drown you in the Potomac because they've never heard of that word before. If you say $8 million in Washington, they'll drown you in the Potomac. If you say 8 billion, they'll say, don't ever say that again, because it sounds like something that, we could save. If you say 8 trillion now, that'll be just fine. 8 billion is right on the edge, right? You say $8 in Washington, they'll slice you limb from limb. They'll slice you rim from rim. I said Bear River Mountain Range, didn't I? I thought I said Bear River Mountain Range in the video. Yeah. Let's see. Bells at the end. Does it get much better as a message? I said, for whom Ukraine tolls. I did another video there for 5 seconds, and I said, the bell will toll. Ukraine will claim another. That's the last thing I said before I walked off that hill. 5 days later, here we have the bombing. So he is CIA. Tyler is CIA. I don't think he's CIA. I think it's this, what I would call the Intermountain Intelligence Group, which is a cover organization for CIA operations, which the Intermountain Intelligence Group is UVU, Dixie Tech, University of Utah in Salt Lake City, UVU, Brigham Young. There's 5 or 6 in the Intermountain Intelligence, but it's a cover organization. It's like CIA does something, like blows up Turning Point, and then you got to come up with some kind of cockamamie group that did it, right? So now it'll be armed queers, right? When they finally get to the dusting and the tag ants, they look at the tag ants here, and if Andy McCabe doesn't destroy everything in the FBI crime lab like he did in '93, right? And we get to the tag ants, and we're going to find out that it's Ermaya's cookbook or something. Let's see here. Utah bomb several years ago. They did a shooting not too long ago, and they said it was MAGA. It turned out to be armed queers. When they did Go Kings, they shoot their own events up, right? So the SLC event that they did with No Kings just recently here with Trump, they had one of their guys shoot everybody up, right? Armed queers did that, shoot them up, right? So they do false flags on both sides, right? Honest men refuse to work for this administration. Oh, so you're saying that the auto pen with Pocahontas You're saying Elizabeth Warren is honorable with the I'm 256 times more Cherokee than Elizabeth Warren. I've never asked for a dime for being part Cherokee. She got $350,000 a year as a Harvard professor for being 1,028th% Cherokee. And that's your definition of honorable? Are you out of your mind? Okay, go get Bill Binney. Bill's pretty old and he's lost his legs. He's amputee and hard for him to get around. And he just doesn't want to do it anymore. He'd be a great consultant at NSA. I wouldn't put him at FBI because he doesn't do a lot of field work. I'd put Robin Gritz in the field, but Bill Binney, there's nobody better with thin thread at NSA. All those guys that got whacked, Thomas Drake, those guys are awesome at NSA. They clean out NSA top to bottom. I couldn't agree more with Bill Binney and Tom Drake going through NSA. Let's see, looking up at Mount Naomi Peak, you can see Mount Gog and Mount Magog. I believe you. And I'm agog that you know it's Mount Gog and Mount Magog, right? I'm agog at that. So let's see. God We Trust. I could tell by the low numbers here. I only have 3,400 watching. I could tell by the low numbers, all the trollage against me, the smear campaigns against me are working. I can tell that Ryan campaign, all these campaigns against me, just massive campaigns against us. It's working. I can tell the numbers are low, and they just do this with independent voices that are telling the truth. They just smear the shit out of you. I just wanted to say two things. Candace, I want your story to be true. Nobody's burned more shoe leather in that parking lot. They're going to about ready to name a couple of the parking spaces after me. Nobody wants that to be true, but I see these other guys training over at this other DQ. They tore that place limb from limb. They ripped the cameras off the walls. It has all the they cleaned it with 28 cleaning crews went in there. That's the one that, and again, the people who own DQ, it's Warren Buffett. It goes back to Seth Rich with the dreidel, with the, what are the Ghost in the DNC Machine. I wrote that book 5-6 years ago, right? How did that footage get out to Candace if Warren Buffett didn't put it out through an intermediary? How did she get a hold of it? Who's breadcrumbing the information? Think about it. Who's breadcrumbing the information to Candace to do that Dairy Queen? Why are they going to breadcrumb that one and not the one that they just rip limb from limb, where they rip the cameras right off the walls and put 28 cleaning crews to work cleaning up the DNA in there, right? Think about the connections here. Which one do you want the citizen journalists going after and looking into? The one we give to Candace or the one where we just decommissioned it and ripped it from limb? Let's look at both of them. I went to both of them. Right? So people say I'm trying to favor one DQ over the other. I'm not favoring either one. I'm going to both of them. Look at the top of Mount Naomi. You can see Mount Gog and Mount Agog and Mount Magog. Okay, I trust you. Thank you. Same playbooks. Tell it like it is. Preach it, baby. Yeah, I try to. I don't have my simultaneous sip, but I would do a simultaneous sip 100%. People ask me why I do it. 100% to the big guy. Life is easy when you're working for the big guy. Right? I'm surely not doing it for the money, or certainly not doing it for all the shit I'm taking for it. And I'm certainly not doing it for risking my life here. Right? Obviously, I'm working for the big guy. Take 2 shots, he said, $8 a month. I really don't want to get shot. I can't keep doing my job here if I get shot. Let's see. I appreciate the valuable info. Thank you. Not a trans issue. That's a total cover. Candace seems to be getting wise to Uncle Mikey. Uncle Mikey is a factor. Mormon Mafia, we've talked about that for, I've been talking about Mormon Mafia. Andy Craig wrote the book, Mormon Mafia. He's a good friend at the National Washington, D.C. Press Club. We've been talking about it with Mitt Romney since they destroyed the factory in Fort Wayne when I was 18, International Harvester. We've been talking about that a long time. Thank you very much Preach, George. We keep digging. Cash back. I don't think cash is getting any cash back. ATF is about ready to smoke the husband of Raytheon's daddy girl without an okay first. I think you're talking about Erica Kirk. So you're saying that they have to check in with Israel or somebody in Israel before they're allowed to get rid of Charlie Kirk. Who's talked more about Habanim Dror and Chabad Lubavitch than the Super Jew and me, right? I do a show with the Super Jew on this topic. We've done it for 5 years. Okay. So I appreciate everything. Thank you. It costs $75,000 a year. I don't really lose it, right? It's just my life savings that I've been doling out to underwrite this. I don't really lose it, but like on paper, I lose $75,000 a year, right? On paper. I consider it a good investment. Any chance he faked his own death? Well, like I told somebody, they just had a funeral with 100,000 people and was led by the president of the United States and a full cabinet. If it's fake, there's a lot of people that are in on it, right? Matt is still in the amphitheater. Oh my God. Here we go. I'm dropping the F boom booms. I apologize, but when I get these criticisms for people who would never get off their ass, like you've got to get off your ass. At some point, you have to figure out, if I keep sitting here and criticizing people doing the work, eventually people are going to figure out, they'll believe you a little bit, right? That, oh, well, I'll call him a Fed, see if that works, right? But eventually, if you keep doing that, people are going to say he just sits there and just makes up shit about people, right? I'm the guy who said Crooks was a volunteer at Beaver County after I walked into Butler County and they said Crooks is a volunteer at Beaver County. That's the hugest story going at Butler. Maybe if Ryan Meta can make up some shit and I'll take Cullen's zipline story and I'll say Webb did it. Scott Pelley already tried doing that with Sandy Hook. And all it did was put my reporting on Sandy Hook and everybody saying the two guys in black bloc, and it makes a lot of sense. Crooks was killed in the car. No, not Crooks, but Lanza was killed in the car and never went in the building. Oopsie. Maybe Scott Pelley, all you did was call attention to my reporting on Sandy Hook and give me credit for that too. Right? And again, Matt, I think the reason why Serafin lost his job is because he just wanted to do something else. And I don't think Matt ever had a job, right? Can't see somebody hiring him, put it that way. But if he had a job, maybe he had a job, right? I just can't see anybody hiring him. Serafin, I can see somebody hiring. We did a thing on name check. We did a thing on the FBI guy who was doing the background checking and so forth. Serafin could get through that. Matta never could get through that, ever, right? Let's see. Thank you. Michael Savage agrees. Thank you. Michael Savage, a lot of great shout outs. Thanks, Michael Savage. After today, they're going to say, well, we hate his guts, whatever, but God, did he call it at Utah State or what? Shit. We got to start listening, man. I could just see Kash Patel bringing everybody in and saying, look, I don't know what you guys are doing with your time. I have no idea. But take your computers and just throw them, go out in the lobby, go up to the top floor and just throw your computer and just start watching these citizen journalists. I just take all your notes. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring in a cleaning service tomorrow. We're going to just start with a clean slate. Just destroy everything you've got and just start looking at these citizen journalists doing this work, because they are predicting shit that we're supposed to be doing, right? And we're not, and they are. So whatever we're doing, we're going to stop, and we're going to start doing the stuff that works today, right? That's what the leadership needs to be right now. That's what we need to take right now. Just take everything you've got and throw it all away. right? And say, start watching these citizen journalists that are predicting this shit. Patriot right-wing groups, yes, informants, Occupy Wall Street. I agree. All these are concoctions. We have a budget, disabled daughter. It's on a strict budget. Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't want to start arguing the immigration thing here, but nobody's done. Well, first of all, my dad was disabled, right? You're looking at the guy who got him into his car every morning, okay, because he couldn't walk, okay? I had to carry him in the car practically, right, for 10 years when he was in the snow in Indiana in these cold winters. So no one appreciates the challenges of disabled Americans more than me, right? I just posted a thing about a kid with cancer, osteosarcoma, right? We're doing a thing with Cedars-Sinai for predictive genes, for the 3 predictive Leroy Hood genes for pancreatic cancer. We're doing stuff with the diabetes with Leroy Hood. We're doing the whole genome studies to do the cancers and so forth. So, and also autoimmune and also diabetes. So we're doing all these projects, but when I post them, people don't really watch them because it doesn't really affect them. Not a lot of people, if you have pancreatic cancer, you watch everything we talk about beginning to end, but a lot of people don't have cancer, so they don't watch it. Right. So I have to mix in that stuff with Aaron. Aaron in Michigan is the one where we lead this stuff. And it's the fact is we're losing population in the United States. People aren't having enough kids. And we do need to have people who make stuff, right? We do need to have people who make stuff in America and build buildings and do the tile work and frame the buildings and so forth. So that is something we need in America. And I don't like uncontrolled immigration. And I've said this, we almost had a deal. I was up there on Capitol Hill with Mark Short, and I was talking to the folks from, we're negotiating the thing, DACA, of the kids that had come in after their parents had been illegal immigrants, and negotiating a DACA deal. These kids speak better English than their parents. They're the translators for their abuelas, right? Mark Short was the one negotiating it. Schumer's people. I was talking to Schumer's people every night on DACA. What should the number be? And then I was feeding that back to the White House. I mean, Short was doing his own negotiations, but I was really pushing for DACA. And then we got the number up to like 700,000 or 1 million, right? These are kids that are not going to take anybody's jobs, right? And their English is great, right? And they've been in the United States more than 5 years. We were pushing for 1 million, because then all the rhetoric on Capitol Hill at that time was, well, they want to take your kids. They're going to come and knock in the middle of the night. ICE is going to knock in the middle of the night and they're going to steal your kids, right? So why not just give them citizenship? They've been here more than 5 years. They speak English better than a lot of the teachers. Why not give them citizenship? And Mark Short was the guy who almost got that deal done. I think we almost got the number up to 1 million. And then the bastards, Schumer bastards, their people their congressional aides pulled it out, and they said, we never were serious. We just wanted to see how high Trump would go. We were always going to paint Trump out as anti-immigration. We were always going to do that. And then I said, you bastards didn't even want a deal. You were just playing for political points the whole time. We've been up here talking about DACA, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Mark Short coming up to the carriage entrance, coming back, trying to negotiate a number. And we were trying to do as much as we could as citizen journalists at that time to get the DACA deal done. And then Schumer pulled the rug right out the end. And his congressional aides told me to my face, right? So I know that's what happened. So anyway, but nobody works harder for the disabled. We did make your kid a doctor, make your kid a nurse, make your kid an engineer, make your kid a civil engineer. We did the calculus series, make your calculus made easy. We've done all these series for education, especially for enabling children that are disabled. So no one has done more with Aaron Adler, Masters of Education. Everybody doesn't realize Aaron's got a Master's of Education. He does all this stuff and builds the school and did the school even before COVID took his business out, right? That's what we're doing about it, right? We're voting with our backs, and and asshole and elbows, right, to get this shit done on a shoestring to enable education for the disabled, right? And I know it because I saw it with my own eyes, and I put my dad in that car every day. And I would, a lot of times when it was icy and rainy, I had to get him out of the school, Ivy Tech, ITT Tech before that, into the car because he had two canes and he would fall on his ass, right? So nobody knows the disabled challenges like I do, right? I mean, you do and I do, right? And I have a lot of time for that. I just want to say it, don't think about it like it's an immigration thing, right? The immigration thing isn't hurting your daughter. That isn't, somebody's told you that the immigration thing is keeping your daughter from getting her education. That's not true. That's just not true. There's resources available, and they're just lying to you if they're trying to tie that to immigration, right? It's just, it's two different things, right? There's a lot of great Khan Academy. There's a lot of great online content, especially for folks that are disabled. Like I said, we've just fallen over backwards doing content, right, for folks that are disabled. So thank you, appreciate it. How do we give money on YouTube? You can't. I don't take money on YouTube. I only take $8 a month. Anybody ever asks you for more money from me and my name, report it to the FBI. Right? Report it to the FBI. Right? People saying Bitcoin and all this stuff. Right? They're doing scams. They did it with Ian Carroll. They use his name. Not good. Thanks for being new. We do need new folks too. People don't agree on everything, and the truth is that's what we should all want. I totally agree with that. That's an awesome attitude. One video on Canvas shows a girl looking like Ermaya. I saw the other day. Candace did not say anything about her. Talking to the former governor contender. This Pat Lyman thing, I listened to a little bit of the stuff that Ryan Matta was doing about Pat Lyman. Yeah, I can run for governor. Anybody can run for governor, right? All I have to do is $15 and fill out a form, right? So, you know, I just a sideshow. So what? His grandparents have land over there by the university. What the hell difference does it make? Who cares? Yeah, your grandfather has land over there. Your great grandmother has land over by UVU. Okay. You know, you're going to do a 4-hour space on that. They did a 4-hour space about Pat Lyman. Like, what? Who the hell is he? Right? If you want to be a factor, Pat Lyman, get out and start doing the reporting. I saw he did a walk around. Okay, that was good. He did a walk around UVU and showed some angles. Great. But all of a sudden, Ryan's like dropping hints that he's a child molester. And how old was the child that you met? It was, you know, you were recruiting somebody for your congressional campaign, and that child was 20, and his name was Juan. No, his name was Felix. No, his name was Ersweiler. No, his name was Trucador. No, and they're arguing hours and hours and hours over what a 20-year-old campaign volunteer his name was. I'm like, this is how you spend your time, Ryan, on your spaces? Are you kidding me? Who cares who Pat Lyman is unless he's going to move the ball forward? Pat Lyman, if you want to move the ball forward, move the ball forward. Keep doing videos of where you grew up and start saying, hey, this is where the weapons cache is. Do like I do and say, this is where Tyler did the weapons cache for armed, we believe, for armed queers. This is the bush, right? You know the bush. Say, this is the bush. Okay, and then it goes from here. Move the ball forward. Keep doing videos of where you live. Right? Candace, don't attack Pat Lyman for filling out a form for running for governor. Don't say that somebody's campaign worker is 20 years old and that makes him somehow a child molester. No, when you're running for governor, you have to have a whole bunch of volunteers. They recruit on the campuses to have people put the signs in the yards. That's how it works. Okay, he's not a child molester. He has people who pound the signs into the ground. How is that a 4-hour podcast, Ryan Matta? How is that a 4-hour podcast? Why is Candace Owens talking about this guy? Right?
why is it even relevant? Unless you're talking about here's where Tyler Robinson put the gun for the shooter in order to trap the patsy, and saying it's on the burning bush here, and saying here's the UVU ROTC building where they did the operations the week before and they ran the drone for the surveillance. Unless you're saying that, unless you're moving the ball forward, it doesn't matter what you people argue about. All the insignificance, all the navel staring that you guys do with your time, I cannot believe you spend your time. I listened to it for about 20 minutes. I said, is that what Ryan Matta does for a living? I just can't understand why people just don't run out in the streets with pitchforks looking for it. I couldn't understand it. This whole Pat Lyman thing's got me completely confused. Who gives a shit? Unless you're going to the burning bush, unless you're going to the ROTC building like I did and said, here's where Tyler put, this is why Tyler didn't step on the campus, because he put the gun in the burning bush here, right? This is how they set him up. This is where they did their training. This is where they did the droning. Ian Carroll did the drone last night. He showed how you would do this. Ian Carroll did the drone. I talked to him on the place. We talked about where to drone. He proved out exactly the same steps that Tyler Robinson would have had to go through to plan this operation a week in advance. And they would have had to practice. That's what we should be talking about. We shouldn't be talking about Pat freaking Lyman, right? Unless Pat has a picture of that day of Tyler putting the gun in the burning bush, right? Link shared. Thank you. Appreciate. Thank you. Very compassionate. Thank you. I think they killed McVeigh. Yes. Broken Arrow. OKC bombing. Yep. That's the way to get rid of an investigation. Blow it up. ATF guys were all out doing what that day? They're all out playing golf. They pre-wired all the key struts. There's no way an air blast could possibly even break more than windows. Some of the windows weren't even broken. Some of the windows weren't even broken, and then you're supposed to cut through steel beams, right? No, right. Okay, live or is this a premiere? This is live. We wouldn't be talking about the explosion and the bombing tonight, an hour ago at TPUSA if this wasn't live. That's how you know it's live. Where's the club car for Fast and Furious? Do you know the car club? I went down to visit Prather. They were so afraid of the Fast and Furious drug running that the local police, the sheriff wouldn't answer calls anymore. Jeff Prather was teaching a group of people as self-armed citizens because the sheriff wouldn't answer calls anymore where they lived because the Fast and Furious drug running had gotten so bad. It's live. We appreciate your legwork. Thank you. I'm not really trying to, self-aggrandize. I'm not trying to feather my own bed, but I am trying to say, don't criticize me unless you're willing to do the same thing or more. That's all I'm saying. When Matta was comparing you with Ian Carroll, he didn't mean it as a compliment. Compare me to Ian Carroll any day. I have not seen anything out of Ryan. I've listened to him for a while. He seems like the dumbest box of rocks that's ever lived of all time. He sees a child molester behind every person, right? You can run around and call 10,000 people child molesters, right? There will be some people who hate child molesting so much that they'll believe you for a while, right? But after a while, they're going to go, you know what he does? He just runs around and calls everybody a child molester. That's his gig. He's out there with Alex Jones. All these kids are chained together, on Mars on the moon, chained together underneath in the tunnels. That only lasts for so long, Let's see. That's it. Nothing but the truth. Wasn't it the Arizona Mustang Car Club? Okay. Well, we'll check it out. Heard you went to the wrong DQ. No, not at all. I went to both. This is the thing is when you want to say something nasty, you probably should go and look at my Twitter first. People are going to see the pinned tweet is at the right, Dairy Queen, today. Okay. I've gone to film that. They were going to about ready to name that parking lot after me. I burned so much shoe leather there. right? So when you say something that's supposedly undermining, you should probably check the person's Twitter before you say something so stupid. Gee, I don't know. Is that my Twitter? Is that me at the DQ? Is that the wrong DQ? Dipshit? Shit for brains? You dumbass. You dumbass piece of shit. It's that look, there's a whole bunch of videos there, right? And I've gone there more times than I and haven't filmed than have filmed. Because you got to knock on doors. Going into the businesses, right? We even while doing that, we saw somebody left their Shih Tzu in a car and was overheating. And I even saved a Shih Tzu, right? I mean, that takes a lot of compassion because there's a school of thought that says you should save any dog that's burning up in a car. But there's got to be an asterisk for Shih Tzus, right? I mean, they're just so loud and so small and so yappy that maybe, but we even saved the Shih Tzu. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how much we're there working that parking lot, that people going into the restaurants, leaving their Shih Tzu out in the car. We're so involved in that parking lot that we're saving the Shih Tzus out in the car lot. That's how much time we beat in that parking lot. Now, how could that be? Jesus. No, Aaron Adler. Kirk allegedly to speak only one word as he pointed at the surgeon in the room. Adler, he said Adler. Aaron Adler did it. I don't think so. That's probably not. Charlie got DQ'd. Yeah, discontinued. That's correct. I messaged Candace. I'm totally available for Candace anytime. But I don't know why she's spending time on Pat Lyman. That doesn't make any sense to me. Cookie Blizzard. Well, the only problem with this kind of statement is it's not what I believe about history. It's what the people at Chabad Lubavitch believe, right? It's about, yes, they really did set a bomb off. The bomb squad had to dispose of the bomb. I'm going to go ahead and I have to break here. So I'm going to have to go. We'll come back. But if you want to see, just go to my Substack, georgewebb.substack, and you'll see how we talked about this 5 days ago. I played the video just before you got here. You'll see it again. Thanks all for joining. MICKEY MOUSE. We'll see you real soon. Why? Because we like you, and we'll see you real soon.